Ladies and gentlemen of Machine Vault, and to all those who deeply value the history woven into legendary names, we warmly welcome you. When the name Ford is mentioned, most people picture iconic cars and mighty pickup trucks that dominate highways and backroads alike. But beyond the roar of engines on asphalt, there lies a lesser-known golden chapter in the Ford legacy. One that unfolded not on roads but on the rich, expansive lands of rural communities worldwide. Today, we take you on a nostalgic journey through this remarkable story, the rise and eventual sunset of Ford tractors, machines that once stood side by side with farmers, becoming essential to daily life and cherished for generations. A vision beyond cars. Henry Ford, the innovative mind who transformed the automobile industry with his pioneering use of mass production, had ambitions that extended far beyond city streets. He believed in empowering every individual, especially farmers. His vision was rooted in the idea that agricultural mechanization could bring prosperity, reduce manual labor, and uplift rural economies. To Ford, machines were not lifeless metal tools. They were enablers of progress, symbols of dignity, and instruments of a better life. With that in mind, the Ford tractor was born, a powerful tool aimed at changing farming forever. The birth of the Fordson. In 1917, Ford unveiled the Fordson, the first mass-produced tractor designed to be simple, lightweight, and affordable. At a time when existing farm machinery was large, expensive, and difficult to operate, the Fordson offered a revolutionary alternative. It was specifically engineered to be accessible to the average farmer, not just the wealthy landowner. Thanks to Ford's forward-thinking approach to mass production and aggressive pricing, the Fordson quickly became the tractor of the people. From the American heartland to the fields of Europe, Australia, and Russia, the Fordson transformed the face of agriculture. It increased efficiency, reduced physical strain, and breathed life into neglected farmlands. By the 1920s and 1930s, the Fordson was more than a machine. It had become a cultural icon. It appeared in artwork, songs, family photos, and rural folklore. Farmers didn't just use the Fordson. They trusted it, relied on it, and passed it down through generations. The post-war revolution. The 8N. Ford continued its commitment to innovation in the post-World War II era with the release of the legendary 8N tractor. Launched in 1947, the 8N introduced features that were ahead of its time, most notably the revolutionary three-point hitch system, which made attaching implements much easier and more efficient. This innovation alone changed how farmers interacted with their equipment. The 8N wasn't just reliable, it was intuitive, tough, and surprisingly easy to operate. Its practicality and affordability made it a bestseller. In fact, it became the best-selling individual tractor model in North American history. Across the countryside, stories still circulate about the 8N's unshakable dependability and strength. Farmers fondly recall how it powered through snowstorms, droughts, and every imaginable challenge. In many families, the 8N became more than a machine. It was a trusted companion, a piece of the family legacy. Continuing the legacy, Ford's 1000 series. By the 1960s, Ford was not resting on its laurels. The company pushed further into innovation with the 1000 series, a line of tractors that brought more horsepower, better operator comfort, and improved durability. These machines weren't just mechanical upgrades. They reflected Ford's ongoing conversation with farmers. The company listened to what people on the ground needed, and it responded with practical enhancements. Whether it was better fuel efficiency, simpler controls, or more rugged design, Ford was still tuned into the heartbeat of agriculture. Beyond its equipment, Ford also built an expansive dealer network that served as a critical support system in rural communities. These dealerships were more than just sales centers. They were gathering spots, service hubs, and sources of knowledge for generations of farmers. The changing landscape, rising competition, and shifting priorities. As the 1970s and 1980s unfolded, the agricultural machinery market entered a new era. Companies like John Deere, Case IH, and Massey Ferguson began rolling out advanced tractor models with powerful engines, electronic controls, GPS-guided steering, and luxurious air-conditioned cabs designed for operator comfort. These competitors were embracing high-tech innovation and modern design, responding to evolving demands of industrial-scale farming. Ford, however, struggled to keep pace. The company clung to traditional approaches longer than it should have, and its slower adoption of advanced electronics created a widening gap between itself and more agile rivals. Meanwhile, Ford faced another set of challenges: rising production costs and global economic changes. As steel, fuel, and labor prices surged, tractor manufacturing became increasingly expensive. Simultaneously, customers were demanding tractors packed with modern features, driving up expectations and narrowing profit margins. Internally, Ford's corporate strategy began to shift. The company was branching into new industries: financial services, aerospace, electronics, and even space technology. While diversification strengthened Ford's business portfolio, it also stretched the company's resources thin. In an environment where tractor innovation required deep investment and unwavering focus, Ford found itself torn between priorities. As boardroom decisions leaned towards sectors with higher profits and faster growth, agriculture, once central to Ford's identity, began to fade into the background. The Ford-New Holland merger. In a bold move to revitalize its position in the global tractor market, Ford acquired a majority share of New Holland in 1986. Based in Europe, New Holland was known for its technical excellence and strong presence in international markets. The merger was hailed as a potential game-changer. Combining Ford's reliable branding and widespread dealer network with New Holland's cutting-edge engineering and modern product lines was seen as the key to regaining market share and momentum. Together, the newly formed Ford-New Holland team rolled out innovative tractors that integrated the strengths of both companies. But behind the scenes, a significant branding decision was taking shape. The focus slowly began to shift from the Ford name to New Holland. Blue and yellow decals replaced the iconic blue oval, signaling a shift in identity. For longtime Ford tractor loyalists, this change was more than cosmetic. It was the quiet ending of a legacy. Fiat's entry in the final chapter. The final nail in the coffin came in 1991, when the Italian industrial powerhouse Fiat acquired a majority stake in the Ford New Holland tractor division. This move effectively retired the Ford name from the agricultural machinery space. Under Fiat's ownership, the company was reorganized as Fiat Agri, which would eventually become part of CNH Industrial, home to brands like New Holland and Case IH. From that moment on, new tractors bearing the Ford name would no longer be produced. Though New Holland and CNH carried forward the technical legacy, the emotional connection to the Ford name ran deep. For countless farmers, this change was bittersweet. The tractors that had helped them till soil, plant crops, and harvest year after year were now part of history. Why Ford exited the tractor business. To truly understand Ford's departure from tractors, one must look through the lens of corporate strategy. In the late 20th century, Ford was focused on streamlining operations and reallocating resources toward its core strengths, chiefly the automotive industry. Compared to the global automobile market, the agricultural machinery sector offered lower growth potential and thinner margins. Ford leadership recognized that to thrive in an increasingly competitive and globalized world, it had to double down on areas where it held dominant positions and could drive more sustainable long-term growth. Thus, the decision to exit tractors wasn't a retreat. It was a strategic realignment. By focusing on higher return sectors, Ford was making a calculated choice to remain competitive and relevant in a rapidly evolving industrial world. The legacy lives on. While new tractors no longer bear the Ford name, the spirit and impact of Ford tractors live on. Millions of classic Ford machines are still in use today, some decades old, testifying to their exceptional engineering and durability. More importantly, the influence of Ford's innovation continues through New Holland's evolving product lines. The three-point hitch system, mass production for affordability, and design for the farmer ethos all trace back to Ford's pioneering efforts. Ford tractors were never just mechanical tools. They were steadfast companions through every season, plowing, planting, and harvesting alongside the people who feed the world. They are machines wrapped in memory, soaked in sweat, and forged in perseverance. In closing, the story of Ford tractors is not one of loss, but of legacy. While the brand has moved on to new ventures, its impact on global agriculture remains etched into history. From the revolutionary Fordson to the iconic 8N and the versatile 1000 series, Ford transformed farming, and those machines continue to be celebrated and remembered by those who operated them. So to all who have cherished these blue tractors, who remember the early morning starts, the smell of diesel, and the rumble across open fields, we salute you. And to the Ford tractors that made it all possible, thank you for a century of unwavering service. We invite you to share your stories in the comments. What memories do you have of Ford tractors? Whether it's a tale passed down from a grandparent or your own hands-on experience, your words will help keep this legacy alive. If this video brought you a sense of nostalgia or new understanding, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the heart of industry and agriculture. Until next time, stay safe, stay inspired, and keep the legacy rolling.